What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's daily market recap. In today's episode, I'm going to break down all of my trades from the morning. But I have to say, I think I made a little bit of a mistake today. So here's the deal. I have right now my aggressive hot market daily goal, which is $20,000 per day. I know that's a lot, but I've been averaging that over the last 90 days. And so I'm thinking, man, if I can maintain this $20,000 per day average, that's a $5 million a year here in 2025. That sure would be nice. This morning, got off to a little bit of a rough start. And in fact, yesterday, first trade of the day yesterday, remember what happened? I went into the red. So let's jump onto the screen share. Let's start breaking it down. We've got a stock right now up over 185%. We are definitely going to be talking about AIFF. But let's go back to the beginning of the day. When I first sat down this morning, when I first pulled up the scans on my phone, you want to know what the leading gainer was? It was LIPO. LIPO. Now, this rings a bell. Why? We traded it just the other day. And so when I pulled this up, I thought immediately, this is not going to work. Why? It just made a huge move. It gave back the entire move, coming back down to here, and now it's got news again, and it's popping back up, but it's already running into resistance right here. Hasn't even made back half of what its peak was from the other day. So I knew immediately that this is a stock that was on the backside of its original move. This was high volume day. This was the day where it came out of left field, gave us an awesome opportunity, got some great trades on it, and now, no, not realistic. In fact, this reminds me of NLSP from yesterday. Remember what NLSP did yesterday? Something very similar. It pops up, but it had had a big day just a few days prior. And so this pop, not sustained. So LIPO coming into 7 a.m., I said, you know, guys, on Monday, I took a trade on something kind of like this at 7 a.m. that wasn't that great, and I went red on it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sit on the sidelines. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to touch this. And that was the right move. In fact, today, I didn't take my first trade until 8 a.m. 7 a.m., there was nothing. The scanner, there was nothing else that looked good. 7:15, nothing. 7:30, nothing. 7:45, nothing. 8 a.m., boom, we've got some breaking news. So 8 a.m., we have ACON that pops up. Now, this is a stock that also has popped up recently. However, it's got a particularly low float because it's done a bunch of reverse splits. Now, it's not actually that low, but it's pretty low. So this is a stock that I know has the potential to put in some big moves. So when it started to pop up right here, I jumped on it, and this was my first trade. So let me show you this trade that I took on ACON. I'm going to do this actually on the 10-second chart. So 10-second time frame, ACON hits the scanner. So I'm getting the scanner alerts. By the way, I'm getting them at the same time as all of you guys who use Day Trade Dash are getting them. So scanner fires off. I see it popping up. It pulls back. I see it popping up a little bit more. It pulls back. And I broke the ice with my first trade right here. I bought 1,000 shares, 652. So right there, that was my first trade. It pops up to a high of 730. And as it was popping up right here, I was adding at 665, 75, 85, 95 for the breakthrough 7. It goes up to about 730. I'm taking profit off the table. It dips down and I'm like, okay, are we going to get another trade? And it stalls out. And that was it. And then it came all the way back down, head and shoulders pattern, and almost a round trip all the way back down. So I did capture profit on this, and I'll show you my P&L in a moment. But I made only $3,700. So $3,700 on ACON. Look, it's not bad, but it's not a home run by any means. And it didn't hold up very well. So that was 8 a.m. And at that point I was like, well, geez, I don't know what to think about this. You know, we don't have much moving. And then we finally get something that moves and doesn't hold up very well. So then 8:30, guess what? AIFF hits the scanners. Boom, I jump in this. Right now it's halted at 9.19. My first entry on this was $4.24. So this one popped up here right at 8:28. So actually, no, I'm sorry. This one popped up a little bit earlier, and then I got in it at 8:28, which was right about here. So I got in as it was breaking VWAP. So when this first popped up right here, here was my problem. I saw it pop up, and I noticed something on the daily chart. Now, you wouldn't notice it right there, but on the daily chart, I noticed that the 200 moving average was right around 475, 480. So I thought, I don't know if I like that. We're running right into resistance here. Notice that we had a higher volume red day not that long ago, and it sold off since then. So I wasn't really sure it was going to work. And in fact, it didn't. It popped up to a high of 480. It drops down, and it basically does a complete round trip all the way back down to 350. And then here's where this gets interesting. Off of this level, it started to stair step back up. Just slowly stair stepping back up. Little dip, and then back up. So I broke the ice and got in for my first trade right here at, let's see, it was actually 424. It was that micro pullback. And I did that because right here, we were breaking over the volume weighted average price. So I got a little trade on it right here. And then into the, or as we get, a little bit further, 835, get another trade on it right here, looking for the break of 450, but it kind of stalls out. Finally breaks, but it was choppy. And now what? We have a double top right against that 200 moving average. So it hits that level, and I was like, all right, that's probably it. It ends up pulling back, selling off a little bit. 915, we sell off a little bit more. So at that point, at the open, it pops up, it sells off, and I'm like, man, this thing is just, it's not tradable. It just hit 200. Now it just hit 200% on the day. So all of a sudden, you get this big breakout right here, and it squeezes through the 200, and it halts up at $5. It opens higher, pops up, flushes down, pops back up, dips down, pops back up, dips down, rips up, almost halts, rips down, halts down. Wow. Really wild price action. Halts up a few minutes later, dips and rips up here, halts again, dips and rips into another halt, pops up, pulls back, halts up again. So now we're seeing some big halts and we're seeing some big range. But you know what? To be honest, all of this felt like a tug of war. And when I was looking at the level 2, and we can pull up the level 2 right now, we're currently up 218%. We're hitting a new high. And you can see I'm only up $3,500 on it. I'm green on it, but it is not my biggest winner of the day. My biggest winner of the day is DOMH, which I'll share with you in just a moment. So AIFF, it's coming up towards 10, but this is kind of the way it's been trading. It sort of pops to a level, and then it dips back down. And then it kind of pops back up a little bit more, and then it kind of stalls out. Now, the halt level here is 1070. I'll say that was a pretty clean break of 10. That was a pretty clean break right there. So that was the resumption after the first halt right there. But back in these areas through here, it really felt like a lot of tug of war. Like it wasn't clean. And so right here, it just halted at 1070. We're showing a resumption of 1071. In fact, just before it halted, it started to thin out like it was going to drop. So now it's showing basically a flat resumption, which is bearish. That's not great. A flat resumption after such a big move up. Now you're going to have shorts who are going to put sell orders at 11 and look for the reversal back down. Now they might get run over, and obviously some shorts are getting squeezed on this. It's definitely strong. Right now it's up 245% on the day. And I feel like, I made a mistake. And the mistake is that I didn't get back in this. I didn't trade it aggressively enough. So here's the issue for me today. First trade of the day, ACON, $3,700. And then second trade of the day, AIFF, $3,500. So I'm up 7,000 on the day, not including any trades on DOMH. And then DOMH, this one is a stock that made a big move yesterday. And then pre-market, it was halted on news. They put out news that they're doing a $13.5 million offering, but also declaring a special dividend and announcing something very interesting. Let's see if we can find it right here in this. I might have to pull up the other news feed. I'm going to leave you hanging for just 1 second because this is a kind of funny headline. So there it is. Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump to join as their advisory board. Okay, so we got today a little bit of, you might almost call it a little Trump and then dump, a little Trump and dump. So we got a little squeeze here, right? The Trump catalyst, and then selling off. Now it's still up on the day. So it hasn't completely rolled over, but it's not holding up as well as maybe we would have liked. So here's the way I traded this. It was halted so they could put out this news. So then they held everyone in suspense. We couldn't trade it until 9 a.m. So at 9 a.m., it begins trading, and I take my first starter at 790. Got in at 790, 4,000 shares. All right, so I'm in. Ends up popping up to a high of 860, dropping back down. Popping back up to 860, dropping back down. So a little choppy through here. This is a 10-second chart. And then finally, we pull away. There we go. 8. So it goes to 850, 860, 870, 880, up to 9, pulls back, micro pullback right there, up to 980, pulls back, pops up here, breaks through 10, drops down, false breakout. Comes up to 10 again, drops back down, rips back up to 10 again, holds 10, squeezes up to a high of about 11, pulls back, and then right at the open, squeezes into a halt right there, up to a high of 1133. So that was our high of day, 1133 on this one. And in fact, let me see if I got an exit at 1133. My best exit was 1099. All right, so 1099 is my best exit on this. But I was able to lock up $14,000, which was pretty good. And just like that, I got myself up over 20,000 on the day. And I said, you know what? That was my goal, and I didn't think that was going to happen today. I wasn't sure it was going to happen because it was really slow to start. ACON, AIFF initially were slow. DOMC or DOMH, that was nice, but then it kind of rolled over. And DOMH, by the way, easy to borrow, which was a little bit of a concern. Easy to borrow right here. Sorry, my drawing tool. So that's the E. So being easy to borrow, I was like, I don't know if this is going to work, but on the resumption, it dipped and then ripped. So I was like, all right, I can work with this. And now, and so then at that point, I was like, all right, I locked up my $20,000 today. That's good. That's my aggressive daily goal in the hot market. And I'm just going to, coming up to 10 a.m., I was like, I think I'm just going to call it a day. And then AIFF initially wasn't really anything. I didn't feel like I was missing anything in this area. I was like, this is just choppy. Even when it popped up here, I was like, nah, I don't care. And then it pops up here, I was like, well, that's kind of nice, but whatever. And then when it resumes and goes into a second halt, I was like, oh, gosh darn it. Okay, I guess I missed that. And I was like, well, I'm not breaking the ice up here. I'm not going to trade it. The ROI is just not as good. And a trade here during the lunch hour, it's great to see, but typically not the time of day that I would do really well. And in fact, we've got a little divergence where volume is declining a little bit while the price is going higher. That's fine, but just something to be a little aware of. I would usually do better when we're seeing increasing volume, not declining volume. But clearly there's some shorts that have gotten themselves on the wrong side of this trade. It's pushing higher. And I think that, for me, I'm like, even if I didn't trade this, through this range here, this is a good indicator for the overall market for tomorrow. So right now we've got 3, 2, 1 for resumption. There's 11:10, 11:30. High is 11:30. Now we dip down to 10:90, and now we're back up just 11:15. So you see, look at this, like, this is the tug of war, right? Down to 10:80, up to 11:10. You're sort of straddling a $0.50 whole dollar. This, then it pops to 11:20. But is it going to pull away? There's 11:40. Okay, short covering over 45 for a move up to 12. So it hits 46, 52, but then there's sellers and it goes back down to 29. And then all the way back down to 1095. And there's a big seller there. That is a pegged sell order. That was a pegged sell order you just saw on the level 2. You could rewind this video if you want to see that again. It was an order that was pinned to the offer. And so every time the offer drops, the order moves automatically and it pushes it down. And it's really hard when you get those kind of orders because the only way to get out is to bail and hit the bid, and you're going to get slippage on that exit because everyone's selling at the same time. Is it going to be a false halt? Almost a false halt. It thinned out there at the end. But nonetheless, I feel like I left some money on the table on this one today. I think I did. But on the other hand, I'm focusing right now on trying to be very consistent, and I'm achieving that, I think, reasonably well. This year is off to a really good start. The month of February is, off to a good start, and we're in the second week here. So just keeping my head down, trying to grind on decent $20,000 days, and not let myself get too stressed about trying to hit every single stock that pops up on the scanner. I'm gonna miss some, and you're gonna miss some too, and that's just the way it is. It's just always gonna be that way. Last 30 days, average daily gain $26,000. So $500,000 just in the last 30 days. I mean, if I can keep doing 30-day, stretches like this, it's going to be a fantastic year. We look at the last 90 days, and I'll remind you, as always, I'm not saying this because I want you to assume my results are typical. I've been trading for a long time, so I've got a lot of experience that gives me, the conviction to take some of the risks that I take. But since October, it's almost $2 million of profit. $21,000 a day. So all I have to do is just keep showing up, chipping away, 3,500, 3,700. Okay, finally one pulls away. That's my $20,000, boom, aggressive goal. Now, we might get to a point where look, there's going to be some days where I'm going to hit $20,000 in my first 15 minutes of sitting down, and I have such a big cushion that I'm going to take more risk. Today, I didn't cross over that aggressive goal until, well, it was like 9:15, right? Because DOMH was halted until 9 a.m. So today, the market didn't give up those gains quite as easily as it has on other days. And unfortunately, as we get closer, to 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., that's when I know my window of doing really well is closing. And if I make a mistake, I won't be able to recover it. So yeah, today was a little, it was a little tricky, but was able to find my ways to some profit. I'm glad and grateful for that. And then AIFF continues even higher, and that's great to see. So good job for those of you guys that locked up some profit today. Hey, if you didn't, go back, study your entries, your exits, study these charts, and print out some of the charts of areas where you wish you would have bought. And then tape those to your side of your monitors, whatever. So tomorrow when you're sitting down, you're kind of knowing exactly what to look for. Now, AIFF, I'll say this, kind of funny because is it a biotech stock? Sort of, just as a side note. So neuroscience, okay, seems like a biotech stock. But the headline was NVIDIA Connect program to include Firefly neuroscience. So the headline was about they've been accepted into NVIDIA's Connect program. And I was kind of like, how hard is it to get accepted into this program? I have no idea. Maybe some of you guys know. But initially I was like, is that, I don't know what that even means, really. But they're using FDA-cleared brain network analytics. So they've got some stuff that they're working on, combining, AI tech with some of this, neurological mental disorder research. So an interesting field that kind of bridges, two hot sectors, the NVIDIA stuff and then also the biotech stuff. Although NVIDIA has been beaten up since the DeepSeek, catalyst recently. But nonetheless, this is great to see. So you know what? It may continue higher. For me at this point, it's now outside the price range where I'm probably going to do really well. The spreads are getting bigger. The whips are bigger. I could make a mistake, get caught in a halt down. I had a stock like this that I traded in December, tried to do a dip and a rip on it. And I mean, it was unreal, guys. It resumed. It dipped for a second. I bought 9,000 shares and then it dropped 3 points and I lost $27,000 in like 11 seconds. I was just like, my jaw dropped. It was I think the biggest loss I had in 2024. I still finished the day green. Thank goodness. I had a huge cushion on the day before taking that trade. But these higher priced stocks, all of a sudden you can get 2-3 point flushes. You're caught in a halt down and it gaps lower, and that is not fun. So, always try to remember to get out while the going's good. Don't overstay your welcome. If you're green, you've done a great job today, I would say. So let's come back and let's try to do it again tomorrow. And hey, if you want to check out a 2-week trial here at Warrior Trading, I'll put the link in the top of the comments pinned so you guys can you click on that link, then you come do the 2-week trial. It's $20 for 2 weeks. That'll give you access to my broadcast, plus these tools I'm using right here. This is how I found every stock that I trade today. The scanners, the newsfeed, chat room, charts, everything. You'll have access to that. So make sure you guys check it out. Thanks as always for tuning in. And I'll remind you, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so please manage your risk and practice in a simulator before putting real money on the line. I'll be live streaming tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. for members at Warrior Trading.